how we all function, and really taking a look at that and saying, am I living my life for me? Am I an active participant in my life, or am I just showing up each day just wherever I think I'm supposed to be or who I'm supposed to be?
I think that most of us really do know what it is for us, that like we know our cues. I think the issue can be that we're not taking them seriously.
Yeah.
Because it seems like nice to have. It's like, oh, I know that I would really feel better going for a walk, but that's almost as if it's like some just indulgent thing that, and even if it was some indulgent thing like a massage, if that is the thing that's going to get you back to the place where you want to be as a human, do the thing.
I like to have my hands in a lot of different things. And for a long time, a big part of my life, I saw that as a negative thing. Like, oh, I'm a jack of all trades, but a queen of nothing. But I'm starting to see more and more as I age and grow and learn. It's actually a really awesome thing, and it's not something that everyone can do. So I'm holding that as a strength of mine now as I move forward. I'm all over the place, and that's kind of the person that I am. And I'm really honoring that in this season of life. It's okay to start things and not finish things. I burn everything, right? Like I am the worst cook because I have a hard time staying in one place. I want to like go do the next thing or go sit on the floor with my kids to play. And like, that's okay, because at the end, you're catching the sun. You're in the moment. And so if you start something and then the moment passes and you're no longer into that or feeling that emotion or whatever it is, it's okay to move on and leave it unfinished. Because isn't that what presence is about? Not forcing it.
Help Me See is a podcast that redefines the word vision. Through vulnerable and real conversations, my own private introspective ramblings about the things that I think about in the wee hours of the morning, and my deep core belief that your nothingness is your everything, and all you have to do is see. I'm Bianca Mora. I'm your host. I am an educator, a photographic artist, and I believe that your daily photo habit can be the key to unlocking the ability to be more present in your everyday life and live deeper into your intention and purpose. We're not about the small talk here. Grab your coffee, get cozy, and let's talk. So my friend Megan Moran says that the most unique asset we own is the connections we make to ourself, our peers, and our community. And that currency actually affords us our dream business and life. So with this at the core, Megan created Connect, a much needed retreat for mompreneurs. And I'm going to be there, and I'm really excited about it. And I wanted to share the info with you in case you would like to join us. It is July 13th to the 15th in Chagrin Falls, Ohio. There are also virtual tickets available, but if you could be there with us in person, that would be so exciting. So this is for mama entrepreneurs who are ready to connect with themselves and others. If you always feel either present or productive, but somehow never both at the same time, Megan has 2.5 days planned, chock full of soulful strategy, strength and support, and guilt-free self-care. All of this goodness happening while connecting with people like you that just get it. I'm so excited to be there. And if you're curious about more details and want to join us, head to the show notes and click my special link, and you can find all the info there. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Help Me See. So if you are someone that considers themselves to be multi-passionate or likes to have your hands in a lot of different projects at once, and even sometimes can struggle to finish something or, stick with something for an extended amount of time because your passions take you elsewhere, this episode is for you. It is filled with so much gorgeous validation and examples of how that's actually a huge asset and a beautiful thing. We have Katie Dragos. She is a mindset and personal growth coach. that's coming on the show today. And she's a full-time working mama and wife, and she's committed to celebrating every single day and sharing the honest truth of working mom life. I'm going to read a little bit more about Katie. She's got over 17 years of marketing and event planning experience, community service work, and she's combined her loves for creativity and cultivating connections and helping others with one-on-one coaching and community-based program work. Katie is passionate about helping other busy mamas identify the missing links and finding joy, managing their time more efficiently, and doing less in order to achieve more. Her program is called Unleash Your Awesome, and you can check out her weekly Unleashed email newsletter, and I will have the links in the show notes. Before I hop into our juicy conversation, I wanted to let you know that I'm hosting a workshop, a free workshop called Presence Through Photography, and it's all about how your photographs can deepen your life experience. It's about powerful self-discovery through your daily photo habit. I'm literally combating the whole idea of it's gluttonous to take a photo. Why can't I just be in the moment? And telling you exactly why photographs and the art of taking a photo, even just a casual snapshot, can actually be a portal to dropping you deeper into a moment and even more so deeply into your life. So if you're interested in this and you want to join us live, or you want to get sent the replay link, go ahead and go to my show notes and click the link and sign up there. I really hope to see you there. I am so stoked about it. All right, now on with the show. Guys, listen, we're just rolling here because I'm here with Katie, and all of our talk before hitting record is everything that we want everyone to hear. So let's just get on with it. Katie, welcome to Help Me See.
Thanks for having me. Live
I'm
from
so
my
happy
minivan.
to have you. Live from your minivan. If you're watching on YouTube, because I don't really talk about it a lot, but all of these episodes are also uploaded to YouTube. So if you're watching the visual, Katie, explain to us where you are.
So I work full time, and I do lots of fun things like many of us do in the pockets of our time. And I love to be in my car because if you're a working mom, you're in your car a lot. And the minivan is like the greatest place for good lighting and for quiet. And so I'm in my minivan sitting in the back seat literally between the car seats.
And it's perfect. And also, of course, we're diving right in. I still have to ask you about your background and everything, but
Sure.
You just said something, pockets of time. I think that is such a huge key and such an unlock for just more in our life, welcoming more time and space, is not underestimating those pockets. Like, look what you're doing with this pocket.
Yeah.
And you could also do nothing. Yeah. You could also be sitting staring at a wall. And if that makes you feel better, then that's an amazing use of a pocket of your time.
Yeah. That's why I love the minivan. It's a quiet space where I can freely talk. And I'm at work. I'm just in my minivan versus in my office because, there's distractions at work and I'll get back to it after this, but this is my break today. And that's when I'm using it to be here with you. So thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm honored that you're using your break to be here with us. I cannot wait to talk to you specifically about, so this month we're doing, and it's going to go more than a month because this topic has been so amazingly fulfilling and crazy what I've learned through talking about it, of presence. But Katie is specifically a mindset and personal growth coach, nutrition mentor, and full-time marketer. Let me see, triathlete, marathoner. Like, all right, we gotta talk about
There's
all the things.
a lot of versions of me.
And Katie specializes in helping busy moms. And I feel like this topic, the heart of it was presented to me from the base of busy moms, not feeling like they're ever present enough for their life and for everything that they're doing. It's like, what's the point if I can't just be here now? So I'm specifically excited to talk to you about this. Before we get going, can you just tell us a little bit about just how your story, how you found yourself here today in this minivan talking to me, and what lights you up?
Sure. Life lights me up. I like many of us, I'm a multi-dimensional person. I'm a multi-passionate person. I like to do a lot of things. I have 2 little boys, and they are extremely active and loving and amazing. But also, having children has really helped me realize that it's okay to be. It took me a little while to be the different parts of me. I'm not just mom. I love being really present when I'm with my kids, with them, and focusing on them, but I also have different parts of me. Like, I like to go running with a girlfriend. I like to go out and get, margaritas with girlfriends too. Like, there's all these different versions of me. My husband and I have been together for a long time, and we're both, we work really well together, and we both have hobbies, and we do things, and we're kind of passing back and forth sometimes, it seems like, but we do honor that in ourselves. And I think it's really important. I work full time in marketing. I've worked in marketing for over 17 years. And I work for my kids' pediatric practice, which is amazing. I love my job. I love the people I work with, and I get to do all sorts of different things, which I love. I get to do community outreach. I get to do events. I get to work closely with providers and staff. I get to do social media and creative and website, because I'm not a person that sits still very often. I like to have my hands in a lot of different things. And for a long, long time, a big part of my life, I saw that as a negative thing. Like, oh, I'm a jack of all trades, but a queen of nothing. But I'm starting to see more and more as I age and grow and learn. It's actually a really awesome thing, and it's not something that everyone can do. So I'm holding that as a strength of mine now as I move forward. And we met in a coaching community. I love being parts of coaching communities and business communities. I'm always learning. I work in marketing, so I'm always trying to learn more. The industry is changing daily, it seems like. And I coach moms, and it kind of fell into coaching years and years ago. People would ask me, how do you have so much energy? How do you do all the things you do? And, I am not a master of time management. I'm a master of getting resourceful. I'm not a master of saying no quite yet, but I'm a master of turning off distractions so that my brain doesn't go to the next thing, because I do a lot of things. So, and I'm also a really big celebrator of life. I love every single day I wake up, and I feel so grateful, even when life is hard, because it's hard. Like, bad things happen. But I really do try to celebrate even the little things, because, I want to live a life that is fun and I feel fulfilled. And yeah, I'm all over the place, and that's kind of the person that I am. And I'm really honoring that in this season of life.
That made me so happy to hear. Because that's that stupid quote, a jack of all trades, queen and whatever. I see that as such an amazing attribute, and I love that you're honoring and holding space for that. And I guess let's dive into it, knowing that you have a lot going on and you're energized by all of the different variations of, activity and just things that you welcome into your life. Can you tell me a time in your life where you felt extremely present, and just describe it to me from like a mind, body, soul perspective, and like what it was?
Yeah. Yeah. When I am with I work hard during the day, and when I am with my kids, my phone is away. Not all the time, but most of the time I have all my notifications turned off. That's one of my mindset hack tips for moms. We got a trampoline for Christmas. This is a more recent one. And it's like our own little world. We get in the trampoline, me and the 2 boys, and we zip it up. And sometimes I have my phone because it's cute and I want to take a picture, but most of the time I don't have my phone. And we play games. We pretend like we're animals. And we just have a blast in this trampoline. And I honestly feel like no one can touch me in there. It's like the 3 of us, no distractions, no work, and we're laughing. And the way the sun even comes in and the trees come in on the trampoline, when we first got it, my husband's like, oh my gosh, he was not a fan of it at first. But I really feel like when I zip that thing up, it's just the 3 of us. And, my husband's there sometimes too, but you can that's presence to me. We're just laughing and having so much fun and being silly and being ourselves.
Oh my gosh. I haven't been on the trampoline in years, but for some reason when you said the way the light comes in, like I kind of understand what you're saying and I almost remember that and I don't know what I'm remembering it from, but so beautiful. How old are your boys?
They're 5 and 7. So,
Oh
this is like
gosh.
the new toy we have. And we have a backyard where neighbors can see in our yard. I grew up in the country where we didn't have neighbors. So I'm not a big fan of like people looking into my yard. I kind of want to be alone. And for some reason, even though I know you can see us jumping in the trampoline, zipping it up feels like our own little world. And that just is special.
I can imagine that that's going to be a like an imprinted memory for them as well as they grow.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So I think that that's actually something to touch on too, is that I think oftentimes we can think about presence and it has this kind of like very grounding, still connotation I feel sometimes, but I love how you're describing your first thought about what's presence like for you as like jumping in this trampoline and like laughing and having so much fun. One of the things that I've noticed in myself is that my expectation of presence, like if I come to see it and come to know it in one way, and it feels like really rich and this very immersive experience, sometimes that can help me or cause me to miss it in other areas of my life where it doesn't feel that same way, but it actually is just presence manifested in another way. Can you explain another way that you feel present?
Yeah. I wanted to start off with a trampoline example too, because, when you hear the word present, it's not like being on a glamorous vacation, sitting on a boat, drinking a cocktail. Like you might see, like it could be the simplest thing. Sometimes it's just a moment. And sometimes it's even looking, my mom took a lot of pictures growing up and we always were like, oh, mom. But even just looking back at the pictures, she sent me a picture the other day of my sister and I don't know if this answers your question, but it's what's coming up for me. She sent me a picture of my sister and I, but it was a picture that she took from inside of a scope, like a beach scope when you're little kids and there were no digital prints at the time. And you could see the like inside of the scope and the rainbow in it. And it just made me so happy because my sister was making this like classic sister face and our arms were around each other. And this before my brother was born. And it just like, it brought me back. I mean, even though I don't remember, I was like 4, I don't remember that moment. It brought back like the whole beach experience to me when I was a kid. Every time we would go to the beach, which I'm really excited, we're leaving to go to the same exact beach place tonight for the weekend. I know. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited.
You should recreate that.
But wouldn't it be so cool? We'll talk more about that too. Like, and bringing my little boys back to the same place that I was. And it's just really interesting how a picture can bring a picture of a picture could bring back a memory that's like almost like a lifetime full of feelings. And then getting to do that again with my kids. So, just, I don't know, like we used to always be like, oh, mom, all the pictures, but it really, it just connects you to a whole new world that is just like expansive.
I I think that I'm gonna have to do a mashup of like in this series. I keep telling everyone that I have goosebumps, but I do have goosebumps. What you just said about looking at that picture kind of gave you the world of feelings about your whole beach experience. Isn't that the epitome of presence? Like for me, when I think about presence, I think about the notion of how crazy it is that you can sink into a moment, something so specific and oftentimes the most simple, quiet thing or, non-assuming thing. And it is like a world, exactly what you're saying with the trampoline. Like it is our world. So for me, the idea of presence is like, I directly correlate it with like the possibilities that photographs give us and open for us, is that by choosing something so specific, by pointing this at this or whatever you're choosing, you are just like leaving yourself this breadcrumb of this world that there are no words for. There's like a bajillion words for, and they all come to you at once when you look at it. Isn't that so trippy?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a whole montage. Like it starts flashing before your eyes. And I wasn't, thinking of pictures that were taken per se, but like really feeling like I was in the moment just from this scope picture. It's, you know, all those memories that are inside, like they're there. You just have to find a way to unlock them.
Access them. Exactly. Actually, when we talked the
Access,
first
that's a
time,
better
you
word.
told me a story about your son. Didn't your son take a picture of you and you
Yes.
didn't realize he did? Oh,
Yes.
but can you tell that story? Because I just
Sure.
repeated that the other day because I was like almost crying.
Yeah. So my oldest son is 7. He'll be 8 this summer. And we were doing, a girlfriend of mine is an amazing photographer, and we were doing a mommy and me photo shoot. She had asked if I could do. I'm like, sure. Get to hang out with a friend of mine. We go over to her house, and we were walking down to this little creek to do pictures. And on the way, there was like a field, you know, like it was a messy field of like weeds basically. But there were some flowers in the field, and the lighting was great. And so she said, hey, Katie, go run into that field real quick, because she knows I'll do it, and like I'll take a picture of you. It'll be fun. And so I hand my 7-year-old, he might have been 6 at the time, actually. This was last summer. I handed him my phone really quickly just to hold it, so I didn't have it in my hand. And she took some pictures of me, and I kind of was joking around and jumping around in the field. And we walked down to the creek, you know, and got my phone back and whatever. And then later on that day, I pulled my phone up because I wasn't looking at my phone. We were playing. We had so much fun. And he had taken a picture of my friend, the photographer, behind her, taking a picture of me. And it was so special because, yeah, like I was excited for the picture that she took, but the picture that, first of all, like the fact that he thought to take a picture, and then I got to see what I looked like in his eyes, you know, joking around and being mom in the field is even more precious than the professional picture. It brought tears to my eyes, and I asked him about it, and he was like, oh, I think he might have said like, I thought you looked pretty, or it was a fun moment or something. And I'm like, oh, child, like that's what,
Oh my gosh.
that's love. And that's what life is about, you know, and how often do you get to really see yourself through your child's eyes, you know?
Oh my God. This is the second time I'm crying. This is the second time I've heard this story. I knew it happened. It's just so, oh my, I have a son, and maybe this is hitting especially hard because I could only hope he would do that for me one day. It's just so that, and that's another thing too, is that I think that in today's day and age, and like with, you know, technology and the vilification of our phones, I think that taking photographs, the vibe of it has almost become like a gluttonous, shameful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's like, well, why can't you just be present? Why? But I think that when we have that very narrow view of it, and we're not open to seeing what else it means to take a picture, where like exactly what you said with your son, the fact that he would even think to do that, it is like it, you know, that even though he can't articulate this at that point, it sparked something inside of him to see his mama like that. And he on his own took a picture of it. And in that sense, like to me, photographs are like little like offerings of gratitude and acknowledgement, and like showing that like I did see this, not that you need it, but just I often say that like whether you take the photo or not is kind of a moot point, even though I'm biased and I would rather have the photo. But the impulse, the point that you thought like, this is so special, I want to keep it forever and take a photo of it.
Yeah.
I mean, what, you know?
And without the tool of a phone, whether you take the picture or not, it gives you that opportunity to have the impulse to go, wow, this is a special moment that I might want to grab my phone for. And, you know, sometimes I don't want to get out of the trampoline and go grab my phone because it changes the energy up and there's no way I could recreate it. But other times I'm like, I'm going to go get my phone because we're having so much fun and I want to capture this, you know, if I can. But without having something that you can easily take a picture with, I don't know if I would appreciate it and have, like you said, the impulse to think, I need to stop here and pause for a minute. And one thing I do with coaching clients too, because a lot of moms feel bad that, you know, I'm on my phone all the time. I'm on my phone. I don't want to be on my phone. Sometimes we get into the habit where I'll say, okay, well, if you don't want to grab your phone, but you're having a moment, maybe even just like hold your hands up, like I'm holding it up like a camera to my eye and go like this. Or I've even had people, take a moment and like literally pinch yourself, which feels weird, but like it's that same impulse. It creates that moment of like, let me lock in this moment, just the feeling here. And, if I get a picture, great. But if I don't, I'm still taking a minute to honor it.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Pinch yourself. That's so sweet. What a great idea. Oh my gosh. And, I guess diving into your work with your clients, you have exposure to like a wide array of moms. And what is your take on this and like what you've heard? And how do you, I guess, a little bit more about how you coach moms through this kind of struggle that we have. And it's I say struggle, but it's also like an amazing like opportunity too, that we as moms acutely understand the importance of presence, because we're looking at this like horrendous magic trick in front of our eyes of our kids growing up so fast. And it's like the pressure to like soak it in mixed with like the overwhelm of life and like all the things that we have to do. And so it's just this whirlwind of like pressure, but also knowing that like being present should, quote unquote, should be effortless. How do you coach people through that?
Yeah. COVID, being home with my kids a lot more during COVID has taught me a lot. When I'm trying to work with my kids at home, I can't be the present mom that I want to be or that they need. So, it really has helped me reframe the part of mom guilt that comes with being a working mom. Am I spending enough time? Am I giving them the attention they need? But when it comes down to it, I am an extremely multi-passionate person, and I need to have things for myself. And my kids need to have things for themselves too. They're in camp this week, and the first day I picked them up from camp, they ran out to the car and I asked how their day went, and they said, the best. And it made me feel so good, because the day before that was a holiday and I was home with them trying to work, and it was not the best day. I just felt horrible trying to like, do both at the same time. So it's okay to compartmentalize and, be a really good employee and be a good mom when you're with your kids. Or sometimes it's okay to not be, the hardest working person or the best mom in the moment. It's okay to have the ebbs and flows, because we're all human, and there's so many different parts of us that I think it's important to honor all the different pieces that make us a whole. And so that's what I talk about with moms and clients and caregivers. Not everyone is a mom. I have some caregivers in the group who are actually taking care of their own moms and maybe don't have children. So that's a whole other, piece of our community that we really come together and kind of round each other out. But we talk a lot about, working mom tips, yes, but like how to get resourceful or how to let go of some of the guilt, reframing things. Reframing is huge. And awareness is the key to opening the doors. Before COVID, I would have never, I just thought differently. I thought about my time differently. I thought about my work differently. I thought about how I showed up in the world differently. And now I'm really looking at my life as a whole. And like I said, honoring the fact that I am a person who likes to do a lot of things, and that is a strength, and really like dialing it back with people and talking, about who they are, where are they in this season of life, what goals do they have, but then really meeting them where they are, because I think there's so many programs and so many things that you can sign up for, videos you can watch, and they're not tailored to, your life, your values, where you are. I think it's important to have a starting place before just setting a goal or, trying to achieve something that a lot of times your mindset's not even in the right place. You're not going to achieve it if your mindset's not there. So in a nutshell, that's what we do, but we go around and round and make sure that it really matches who you are and where you want to go in the next step of your path.
Yeah, meeting you where you're at. That's a huge part of it. And I just love how the theme of just leaning more into what feels good and resisting the judgment of what is, or like the stories that you made up about, like, for instance, the multi-passionate aspect of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I started this work, gosh, probably about 10 years ago, but right before my kids were born. But then when, once the kids were born, it was like, whoa, big time. A lot of personal development, a lot of mindset training, a lot of growth and events and things that I've been working on myself. And then, as you start to work on yourself, people start to ask, well, what are you doing? How are you, how is this working for you? And you can kind of help guide people a little bit. And then of course, COVID just was an eye opener for so many people in the world. Tragic, but such an eye opener, and how we all function, and really taking a look at that and saying, am I living my life for me? Am I an active participant in my life, or am I just showing up each day, just, wherever I think I'm supposed to be or who I'm supposed to be?
I think it's so funny that a lot of the stories that that I've come to hear when talking about it in the frame of this, and like really getting super honest with yourself about what's what for you, has a lot to start with, like when you have kids, and also when you start your own business, if that's what you're doing, because it's like starting your own business is like personal growth on like steroids. And then the same is when you have kids. So when you combine the two,
yes, it is kids are, I always say kids are such a mirror too. I mean, my kids will tell me like it is. If I'm not paying attention to them, and maybe I said I was going to stop working, they will tell me, Mom, you said you were going to stop working, or you said this. I mean, they tell you, hey, Mom, you're on your phone, and they're very honest, and they're honest in really loving ways too. My son for Mother's Day last year wrote, they do like my mom is, and they fill out the stuff. And I remember he wrote, my mom never, my mom never, and he wrote stops. And I was like, that's interesting. Or stops going. That's what it was. Never stops going. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, like that's horrible. Like I never stopped going. And then I was like, hold on a second. Let's turn this limiting belief into an empowering belief here. I never stop going, right? Like, hey Mom, you want to jump on the trampoline? Yes. Hey Mom, you want to go for a walk? Yes. Like I want to be that mom. I have a lot of energy, but I want to keep up with that energy. And so I turned it around, because he really, kids come from a really loving place. So I know it was the second one and not the first, when he said she never stops going. So we can really beat ourselves up really hard, really easily and really hard. But like, why? We don't have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how you checked yourself with that reframe, with that.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part too, is that, but I believe that building that muscle is important. And I think it's the hardest part, because it's like cognitively, we understand. I mean, we're super smart. We get it. We know all the things, but it's like, you can know everything intellectually, and then you're in a moment and that part of you is completely blocked. And how do you help access that moment of like, wait a minute, like when you recognize that you're going into a swirl of like what's not helpful for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've done a lot of mindset work, and I coach moms on this now. And I get in the moment, I can feel viscerally when I'm about to, I hate to be late, right? So like being late is a major trigger for me. And I can feel my face get hotter. I can feel my blood start to like literally like boil inside of me. And I've learned the cues. Like we all know right before we're about to lose it, right? And it doesn't mean I don't lose it. I lose it all the time. We're all human. It happens. But I can feel it, and I notice it now, and take a minute to breathe. I try, right? Like sometimes it works well, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm also really big. I've learned what brings me back to baseline. So we have this conversation a lot as moms. What brings you back to baseline? Do you need a moment to yourself? I like to move. Movement is my baseline that I've kind of taught myself to do. So I wake up every morning and I work out. It's not the best workout in the world. It's not like I'm not training for anything per se right now, but I'm just a calmer, more like myself person when I move my body in the morning. I get time to myself, and if I can't get that, my husband will even say, like, you need to go do some movement or something, because you're not the same, So you notice these things. And when I do blow up and lose my mind, it happens more often than I would even like after all the mindset work I've done. I really take that into effect, and I really think about it, and I do a lot of journaling. But I can really truly feel it in the moment before it happens. And the same thing with sadness. Sadness, I've had a lot of experiences with grief also over the past couple of years. And sadness used to be something that I would hold back and not allow myself. I would literally like choke it back. And now I allow myself in my safe space, which is my car, to cry when I feel it. So dropping the kids off for school, I can feel that lump in my throat. I hold on to it, and then I get in the car and allow myself to release it. Music is a great way to release. Movement's a great way to release. So I think it's just becoming aware, and giving ourselves permission to either let the feelings out or hold them for when it's you're not always able to do this, but hold this for when it's appropriate for you to be able to actually get the full release that you need.
I think that most of us really do know what it is for us, that like we know our cues. I think the issue can be that we're not taking them seriously.
Yeah.
Because it seems
totally.
like nice to haves. It's like, oh, I know that I would really feel better going for a walk, but that's almost as if it's like some just indulgent thing that, and even if it was some indulgent thing like a massage, if that is the thing that's going to get you back to the place where you want to be as a human, do the thing.
Yeah. What you're saying makes me think of, so I changed the way I plan my weeks when COVID came up, because I was home with the kids for a while. I got this awesome planner pad, which you do not need, but I just love it. It helps me visualize out my week. I look at my personal calendar and my work calendar, and I combine them. I used to keep them very separate, but I combine them because they make up the whole person that is me. I'm not just a mom and just an employee, right? And I put personal and work together on that. And, they say, like, look at your calendar. We'll show you what your priorities are. I put my kids' stuff first. When do my kids need to be picked up? Because, they have, like, they're little. They need to be picked up. We need to make sure that they're healthy. Their doctor's appointments, things like that are taken care of. And then I put my work meetings in places where do I need to be in person? Where do I need to show up? What needs to get done? Then I do like a massive brain dump on all the things that are constantly going through my mind, and I'm adding to that all week. But it really helps me look at my calendar and go, okay, I need to be here this day. The kids need to be picked up. Oh, we need, identifying what needs to happen, what needs to get done. And then it also shows me where I have space. And that is something that I was not doing before. I know now, and yes, things change throughout the week, but I know where I have space now. So maybe I get a chance to work from home, and that's a day where I can be more creative and work on, social media things and artwork and things for my job or for my business, whatever that looks like. And then, if the kids get sick or something happens, then, I pivot and I move things around, and sometimes things don't get done, but I know that I have the space. And I think once we look at our life like that, and put things physically in our, maybe you want to go for a walk and you're like, well, you know what? I could go for a walk on these 2 days. Put it on your calendar and then do it. And if something comes up, that's fine. Things come up, but at least you know, and your mindset is like, oh, on Tuesday, I'm going to go for a walk in the middle of the day or whatever it is. And that really is, it's so simple, and it's not perfect at all, but it really helps go into the week and go into the day. It really helps ground you. It works for me.
Yeah. And it's in that same vein of like taking the things that are important to you seriously. It's like, who's to say that only your commitments to other people are the only things valid enough to go on your calendar? That's huge. Like, what? Like, things that are important to you go on the calendar just as much as like your commitments to your kids or your commitments to your job. Like, yep. And then you have, I feel like it's just a huge opening, and spaciousness is honestly my like number one need. I actually didn't realize how, and in spaciousness, I never realized until after I had kids, how important silence was to me. Like, I didn't realize how sensitive my nervous system was at all until I had kids.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about
even
this.
Even when they're playing, even when it's like the sweetest thing and I'm like visually like enjoying it, I feel like I have rabid monkeys in my chest, like clawing me from the inside. Like, I'm like, how is it that I'm like appreciate and love what's happening, but also I want to run a million miles away, you know? So I think that coming back to your baseline, establishing where you want your set point to be, knowing, okay, I'm here and now, but I have this walk tomorrow or later on in the evening. And like, that kind of gives you solace. It's just like having that amount of intentionality for yourself in the week.
Yeah. Yeah. And connecting with other people like you or communities. I mean, I really think having a mom's community is so precious because you can literally be surrounded by people. You can have all the help and support in the world. You can have the most amazing husband or partner, but it also just it can feel lonely sometimes. And it's not, that person's not available, but it's just a different emotional mindset. Even just dropping my kids off at camp the other day, I was like, okay, I dropped them off. Like, should I go in? Like, am I supposed to go? Like, I drove away feeling like unsettled, and they were in a great camp and it was established and everything. But I called my husband and we talked for a minute and he's like, oh, they'll be fine. Okay. And I called my mom and she didn't answer. And I'm like, I'm going to reach out to my community. And I reached out to my community of moms and I was like, I'm just feeling these feels right now. And for those who were available at the time, we use like a Voxer messaging chat. They jumped in and they were like, oh my gosh, we're thinking of you. We're supporting you. We felt the same way, or we feel the same way. And so it's just nice to know sometimes that you're not alone. We all have down moments. We all have tough times, and we don't have to share all of them with everybody. But those times when you really want to make a phone call and no one's available, it's nice to have, I call it tent poles of support, right? Because it takes a lot to hold up this circus. Like, this is a circus and I need all the little tent poles to hold me up. My husband, my family, my mom, my sister, my community, my business group, my whatever it is, my colleagues. Like, we need all of those things to serve the different pieces of us. You can't just go to, well, you could, but it's not going to work out well long-term if you go to one person for everything. They can't hold you up. That's a lot of responsibility for that one person.
Yeah. And this is a huge learning that I've been continually learning over the last year, because I'm like self-proclaimed lone wolf, introvert, like those, typical, like, I'll just do it and sign your name to it. It's fine. Like, but I really can't even articulate how vital, especially in this like new journey of like entrepreneurship, it has been to like meet people that you just know get it. Like, you don't even, it's not even like they're giving you answers or advice sometimes, but like, exactly, like I had a situation very similar where I had left my kid at daycare and it did not sit well with me. It's like, I should have stayed, but also like there was just all these things. And I called my partner and he's like, he's fine. Like, I just know from your response that you don't get what I'm saying. Like, I'm not asking you to say the perfect thing, but I just know that you're not seeing this. And then I had voxed a friend of mine and she's like, I know that is so hard. Yeah. She didn't have to say anything else. She's just like, I know. To just feel like seen in that way, it's so healing. Mm-hmm. It's so comforting. And it's not that it fixes everything, but sometimes it actually does. Like, sometimes just seeing someone and having them say, oh, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, okay. I felt like not only on top of like this terrible feeling in my chest, I felt like I was on Pluto or something, but now I feel like more grounded in this commonality of this experience, and almost like I'm better equipped to handle it next time.
Yep.
And not be afraid of it, just because it's not the unknown.
Yeah, and just not feeling alone. I mean, it's crazy to me. Having kids really changed. Like, I never had anxiety ever before having kids. And then all of a sudden I was like, what is this feeling? This is a new feeling, and I am a huge proponent of, talk. I'm an extrovert. I talk a lot, but, I'm a huge proponent of, clinical help and therapy and talking to people and being parts of communities, but like it's important to explore your feelings. It's healthy to explore your feelings. And it's important to do it with different people who serve different, different parts of you.
And speaking of different parts of you, I did want to ask before I forget. So we've explored a lot, and you've also spoken a lot about like all the different parts of you, and some of those parts are going out with your girlfriends for margaritas or what have you, whatever it is. Can you think of a moment of presence that is just with you?
Yeah.
A moment that you've had that just feels like yours and yours alone.
Sure. So morning time is my time. Like my kids sometimes do get up, but that is my time. And I create ceremony around my mornings, like down to what I'm wearing. I mean, I love my morning time. I wake up, I jump out of bed almost every morning because I know it's my time. That is the time that I have set aside for myself. I pretty much go to bed with my kids. So I know I'm not going to get it in the evening. I am present with myself and with my thoughts in the morning time. And it looks different every day. I know I'm going to move in some capacity, and I might do some journaling or some reading, but I'm not a strict planner out of what I'm going to do. I just have a kind of an idea, and I go into my basement, and I never thought I would be a workout from home person, but I really have, as an extrovert, have realized that space and that time to my own thoughts, like before I check social media, before I check emails, that's the real me. And that feels so awesome and so special because I'm not like altered by anybody else's expectation or, reactive to what somebody else needs. And that to me is the true place that I can ground myself and then, give back from moving forward in the day, whatever happens.
Oh my goodness. And can you just talk a little bit more about what it feels like? Like I love, and I'm a huge fan of what you just said about how, because I kind of function like this as well. Well, one, I try so hard to wake up earlier than my kids, but it just doesn't happen. And I think I need to move it up even further. Like today, I got up at 6 and I was like, okay, I'm going to be able to get into meditation in 2 minutes into the meditation. My son wakes up.
Yep.
But the fact that you know roughly like what you want to do, but you don't know exactly what you're going to do. It's not like you're planning out that time. Can you just talk a little bit more about like the intentionality with that and like your mindset as you move through that?
Sure. I know how I want to feel. And this is a question I ask a lot when people are setting goals or, how they come into coaching and they're like, this is my goal. I'm like, well, okay, let's talk more about that. Where are you? Where do you want to go? But really, how do you want to feel? Like, I know how I want to feel in the morning. Do I want to feel like some days I wake up and I'm like, I want to do, quick, like 20-minute workout. And then I want to read more. And so I honor that. Some days I want like a long bike ride and I want to be able to look at my phone while I'm on my bike ride. I have a spin bike and maybe create something and work through thoughts while I'm working out. So if I tried to plan it, it wouldn't work. If it was too rigid, I have the structure of the time. And I will also say too, there were years and years and years and still days now where my kids wake up. Your kids sense your energy and your presence in the house. It really, and once, interestingly enough, once I understood that and almost came to appreciate that, then they started sleeping more. So it was like, okay, I'm finally okay with you waking up because I want to be with you. And now you're going to sleep in, so it's a very interesting, it's almost like the more you resist something or the more structured you try to make something, the more frustrating it's just going to make you because, as kids and moms and multi-passionate women in this world, like you can have the perfect plan. You can go out to Target and buy the colored pens and the planner. And I've done that and I still do that sometimes, but like you make this perfect plan and it's not going to work out that way. You have to give yourself a little bit of, of flow, and time to figure it out. And sometimes that time to figure it out is figuring out what's not working too. And not everyone's a morning person. I've made myself a morning person because I'm not a night person. Like, you have to figure out what works. I tried going to the gym at 10 o'clock for like 6 months, like put everyone to bed, and I would leave the house and I would go at 10 o'clock. That didn't work for me, So you try things and you kind of ebb and flow a little bit. And, my kids are, I use the term "in this season of life" a lot, because in this season of life, waking up in the morning works for me. It could change tomorrow. And I'm going to be really freaking frustrated, but I'll figure it out the next season when it comes.
Yeah. Yeah. Two things you said. One, I'd never thought about it like that. And you just put so much clarity around this for me, because one day a week, I tell my partner, I'm like, that's my day to sleep in, Sundays. And without fail, my kids sleep in on that day. And he gets off not that I wish him a struggle, but like, I don't understand. Like, what? And it's because I'm still sleeping. That's so crazy to me. I'm totally going to try to like welcome like the acceptance of it and see if they sleep in.
Isn't it beautiful too when you think of it that way? Like, wow, my child senses my energy and is like, "Ooh, I want to be with her." Like, that's really cool. And here's what it's still my time. I just need to be a little bit more flexible. So I have a spin bike. It's literally next to the couch. I'll go, "Okay, guys, good morning. So mommy's doing her workout. What would you like to watch on TV? Let me get you some, I'll get them a snack or milk or something." And then it's like, "Okay, I'm going to get on my bike and finish my workout." And I mean, they're 5 and 8 now, or almost 8. So, it's gotten easier. It's not like snack constant, but they know that's my time now, because they wake up. I'm not getting off the bike to get you a second snack. You get one and that's it. And, I have had moments where I have like lost it and said like, "This is my time. I wake up early." And I talked to my therapist about it once, and she was like, "It's so cool that you're showing them that mommy takes care of herself. Like, it's actually a good thing that you are showing them that, and you're not just dropping everything and giving them full attention." And so, yeah, like I plan, if I want to sleep in, I'll sleep in, and then they get their iPad time while I work out. And they know, they're like, "When are you going to work out?" And I'm like, "When, this is the time." And that's where they get their iPad time. And so it's kind of fun for both of us. And they're sitting right next to me. It's not like they're in the other room. They sit right next to me, and I can literally see and often interact with them while I'm working out. But it's honoring what I need, because I'm a much better mom in person if I can get that movement in or get some sort of baseline grounding in. So, and reading and writing is hard with little kids. I've tried to like have journal time while they're on their iPad, but they are talking a lot with me. So I've learned that movement is something that I can do while they're awake, if they wake up. So, and I learned that by trying it and it not working.
That's huge. I know that feeling, like where you said you told your therapist, like it sometimes you even wonder, like you almost feel like you're becoming a child yourself, because you feel so desperate. You I start to act like a kid. Like I'm like this, I did everything I could to set myself up for season. Like I need this time. And what she said is so true about how beautiful it is to show them you prioritizing yourself. It makes me think of, I was actually on another podcast the other day, and she'd asked me something, and my own answer surprised me. I never thought about it before she asked me, but what you just said made me think of it, is that she had asked something about like what I feel about my kids seeing my contributions to the world. Ooh. And I realized when she said that to me is that like, actually, when I think about what's most important for me in terms of myself and my kids, it's actually not, I don't really even care what they think about my contributions or what I'm doing. I care that they feel completely seen by me, and that they feel as though they see me in my wholeness, and not, I don't know, I could cry just talking about it again. Like they don't see me as mommy. And then as they grow up, it's like kind of course, as they have a bigger capacity of understanding, they'll understand more nuances, but like they don't just witness like one version of me. They see me in all of the wholeness. Actually, something that I always remember is, do you know Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell? So they have a podcast, and one time they were talking about how, although they obviously don't make it a goal to have arguments in front of their kids, if they ever like get tense or whatever, and they have like something in front of their kids, they make it a point to, whenever they talk about it again and resolve it, it's not behind closed doors. They resolve it in front of them as well. So they're witnessing the full scope of like what's going on. And that is really important to me, is to not have these missing pieces that they're guessing about me or about, you know, our family or whatever, is to really, you know, basically show them like the wholeness of a person and how it's not all like mommy's perfect and it's not also all, you know, a mess. It's both. It's the and both.
And that's so beautiful, because it's going to give them permission as they grow to be their own, you know, their own whole selves. They're not just, they're growing into people. They're not just going to be one version of themselves. They're going to be different, you know, have different hobbies. Even just having 2 kids, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so different and they have different needs. And it's crazy to see. Like, I'm blown away, and we're only, you know, 8 years into this. So what you just said, so I had told you earlier, I blow dried my hair, which like never happens. I blow dried my hair this morning because my kids have a little bit more time in the morning before they go to camp. And I pulled out this book. I read while I blow dry my hair, which again, never happens. But I pulled out this book. And for those who are watching the video, it's If I Had to Live My Life Over, I Would Pick More Daisies, right? And so this is a book. My grandmother, who I was very, very close with, passed away suddenly in October this past year. A lot of when I talk about grief. And so we're going through her stuff, and I found this book, and I had asked my mom if I could have it. And so it's next to my bed, and every once in a while I open it up, and it's just little poems and stories from women. I don't think my grandmother ever even opened it. However, I opened it up this morning when I went to blow dry my hair, and I found just first page, and I was like, I have to read this today. It's a short poem, but it really relates to what we talked about today. It relates to being a working mom, a multi-dimensional person. So can I read it to you?
Please.
Okay, so it's called Good Intentions. Now, when I first started reading this, I was like, ooh, but just wait till the end. So Good Intentions by Doris Vanderlip Manley. Someday you will tell your children about a woman who left behind a trail of abandoned projects. Husbands never sure of ownership, children never certain of devotion. Carvings begun in heat and left unfinished until discarded in another move. Paintings she intended to redo to catch the true brilliance of the scene. Friends she wanted to help in time of trial, but managed only to blow a poem their way. Dresses she started making, but by the time she finished them, her taste or the weather had changed. Cookies burnt to a crisp, and cakes that fell when the housewife was submerged by the scholar. From this conglomeration, which makes a life, what will you remember? A woman no more, substantial than a cloud, yet one who caught the sun. Like, when I read this, I was like, just like we talked about being a multi-passionate person and wanting to be, you know, involved in a lot of things. But then when I read this, I was like, oh my gosh, it's okay to start things and not finish things. I'm like, I burn everything, right? Like I am the worst cook because I have a hard time staying in one place. I want to like go do the next thing or go sit on the floor with my kids to play. And like, that's okay. Because at the end, you're catching the sun. You're in the moment. And so if you start something and then the moment passes and you're no longer into that or feeling that emotion or whatever it is, it's okay to move on and leave it unfinished. Because isn't that what presence is about? Not forcing it. I
I'm a
had to read
mess.
it. It was perfect. It's the page I opened up.
It's perfect. Immediately, I'm like, I want you to rip the page out, put it in a frame, and then press a daisy and put it in with the poem. Oh my God.
I love that your
Like,
mind
and
goes
it's
there
really,
too.
especially like since you were talking so much about being multi-passionate, like that is like a poem like that's for you as well. Like it's like, oh my
I literally opened it up and I was
God.
like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? And
That's the
isn't it
essence
cool?
of presence.
Isn't it cool that the story is about the woman who abandoned projects? Because she was always where she was.
Mic drop. Yes. Yes. And this is what I think about when you, as you were talking about your mornings and how, you know, we've talked about specific moments of presence throughout this, but like, I feel like your mornings are such a metaphor for like everything it is that you're doing in your work and in your world and in your motherhood and in your life is that you show up. I'm going to cry again. You show up for yourself in the very like beginning of your day to start to honor your fullness. You don't even plan what it is you're going to do, but you get present with yourself and hear and feel what you need. And then you do that. And if your kids wake up, you pivot in the way that feels best to you, but really it's all grounded in like really catching the sun.
Yes. Catching the sun. Like,
oh my gosh.
and you can feel that I can feel the sun. Like I can feel it on my face just thinking about it. And I love the idea too of opening it up and reading one page because yeah, I have started a habit where I'm reading more and that's been really awesome. And I've had to prioritize and give up some other things to read more, but you can open a page up and read a book. It doesn't have to be this like planned time where I'm going to sit and read, however many pages or, I'm going to journal for 20 minutes every day. Like it really, I think we have to lower our expectations for ourselves and kind of like catch the sun a little bit more and like let it be what it is and be grateful and happy for that. And I think that's what celebrating every day is about too, because some days are going to be what you planned but most days are not going to be. But you're going to miss out on the beauty around you if your head's down and you're trying to force something that's not working.
1,000,000%. Honoring sometimes when you're like, oh, I just read this one page and I have 20 more minutes. I should really get more pages in. But if you feel that the same way as if you feel the impulse to take a photo, like sit with yourself for a minute and honor, like, why is it that I'm feeling that? It's a ping. It's like a soul ping. Give yourself permission to stop. I think that choosing to stop and not take on more, not accomplish more, not be more productive because you're honoring that deepest, most wise inner knowing that we all possess is more powerful than any checklist that you could accomplish or anything.
Yeah, and you're honoring that space too, which is hard to come by. So like if you have it, enjoy it.
Yes, it's being available for these moments when they present themselves, because you could have easily read that poem and then flipped the page and read another one because you're like, I'm still going. So let me just, but you close your eyes and you're like, oh, and then you gifted it to us. And who knows how many people are going to be like, oh, taking that with them throughout the rest of their day. It's such a powerful poem by someone who like, I don't think anyone probably even knows who that is. Maybe they do. I don't know.
I'm going to have to look her up, but yeah, Doris.
But it's, yeah. Thank you, Doris. Thank you, Doris. And thank you, Katie. Oh my gosh. This has been such a beautiful conversation. Can you, before we go, tell us a little bit more about what you're up to? All of Katie's links about how you can enter her world will be in the show notes, but anything you got going on in the now?
Sure. Yeah. We're launching and we're always welcoming new moms and caregivers into our community, our Unleash Your Awesome community. We're mostly virtual, but we do get together and do in-person retreats quarterly and every 6 months. So everyone's invited to be a part of that, to be a part of the conversation. I'm on Instagram at Dragos717. You'll see 717 is my lucky sign number. It shows up in so many different ways for me throughout my life. So you'll see that a lot there. And I'm on Facebook as well, but mostly on Instagram at Dragos717. So follow me there. I have a website. It is not currently updated because it is not a priority in my life right now to do that. But there's a lot of different ways to connect. And then I do send out a mostly every week newsletter, Unleashed newsletter. And my goal is to do every week, but honestly, I'm not going to send something out if I don't feel super hard called to send something out. So, every week, or maybe not every week, you can subscribe to that. And I share stories and helpful mom tips and sometimes funny videos. So you just never know what's going to happen. So, and I kind of like to live that way. It's fun. And
well, thank you, Katie. This has been such an amazing conversation. I've really enjoyed our time together. Thank you so much.
This is awesome. Thank you. I don't know how many times we cried or got goosebumps, but it was definitely up there.
I know. It's not even noon yet.
I'm going to go back to work now.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
If you enjoyed this episode and want to get in on actual conversations with me, join the Help Me See podcast private Facebook group. Every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be hopping on live for Q&A on the latest episode and for free consulting if you need a bit of help thinking about ways to save your memories. Did you get something out of this episode? I really, really, really hope you did, and I would love to hear from you. I'm on a mission to empower you to feel peace knowing that you are not missing your life. One of the best ways that you can support me is leaving a review, and honestly, I'd rather hear about the memory you saved because of this podcast rather than any kind of accolade. Tell me how this podcast has impacted you. And 1, I'll probably cry. And 2, I'd love to give you a shout out on the show. Take a minute and head out to the link in the bio to write a review now on the podcast.